Story 1. I am feeling emotional because it's my first Mother's Day without my mom. However, I had a relaxing weekend, enjoyed a good dinner, and I am going to take a nice bath soon. Story 2. I am currently feeling mixed emotions. I am not pleased about being unemployed, but I am happy that it allows me to spend more time with my loved ones. Story 3. I am content. Happiness is an exclamation or a peak experience that diminishes with overuse. Do not strive for constant happiness. It is unsustainable. Story 4. I'm okay. My mother got angry at me for not wishing her a happy Mother's Day, so she kept making passive-aggressive comments. At one point, she left the house for 2 hours, and no one knew where she went, so my happiness is at a 5 right now. Story 5. I would rate it 8.5 out of 10. My family life is great. I genuinely look forward to being home and present with my kids. I appreciate even more the 1.5 hours of alone time with my wife after the kids go to bed, when we can just sit on the couch and relax. Work is just work. My mother passed away suddenly last year, and my father is trying to manage on his own, but he knows he will need to come live with us soon, as his situation is precarious. Watching your parents age is not easy, and experiencing the first Mother's Day without my mother was particularly hard. Story 6. I had my fourth child. She is an angel. I am cutting out toxic family members and deep cleaning our house. Life is pretty cool. Story 7. I am very happy in my life. I am in the middle of revising for my final exams. I should be asleep, but I was awakened, so I am on Reddit. Story 8. So few realize that happiness is a choice. You spend a lot of time in your life dreaming of the day when you'll be happy. A certain amount of money in your paycheck, a large house, children, travel, and more. You spend your whole life dreaming of being happy. And when you get there, you find yourself just as miserable as you were before because those things won't make you any happier. You spend so much time lamenting all the terrible aspects of your life. A frustrating job, a disappointing car, a difficult boss, unsupportive friends, issues in your country, and discontent with leadership. You focus on how bad things are, and as a result, you cannot see the good right in front of you. Happiness consists of 3 parts. The first part is easy. Stop complaining about the things you can't change. Stop giving those things the attention they do not deserve. Next, put your dreams on the back burner. While it's nice to have goals, there can be an unhealthy fixation on the future, which inevitably leads to disappointment since the future is never perfect. Finally, find something to smile about every day. This must be a conscious decision on your part, choosing to find the silver lining in a bad day. Is it raining? Enjoy the smell of rain. Do you have to go to your job? Appreciate that your coffee is good. The truth about life is that it will always be today. It will never be yesterday, and tomorrow will never come. You may always have a job you dislike, you cannot return to when things were better, and you will always dream of something greater than what you have now. The key to life is choosing to be happy. You may not always succeed. There are days when life feels overwhelming, but you must keep trying to find even the tiniest fragment of joy in your days. Life is not there to fulfill you. Your friends and family are not responsible for your happiness. If you want to be happy, that is up to you. Choose wisely. Story 9. I am going through a divorce and people are dying. However, I can say that I have been able to move on and manage, thanks to therapy, the gym, and great friends. Overall, I would rate my happiness at a 7 out of 10. Story 10. I'm happy my annoying coworker was finally let go. It will probably be hectic at work, but so far, it's not too bad. Story 11. I am about to take my International General Certificate of Secondary Education Accounting and Computer Science exam, and I have not prepared for it very much. Story 12. On the road to getting the job I want, I enjoy spending time with friends, playing spikeball, fishing, or going out for drinks. However, it feels like none of it matters because when I get home, there's no one to share it with. Story 13. I feel very happy. I just had a good journaling session writing all the things I am thankful for, and it puts me in a great mood. My body is sore from preparing for an upcoming marathon and running a lot, but that is my only complaint. Story 14. The weather was good today. I had ice cream, read a great book, enjoyed a wonderful dinner, had a good video call with my mom, and met up with my friend. Story 15. I have never been this lonely and depressed, and I am close to taking action. No one would even care if I were gone, and I do not know if that makes it better or worse. Story 16. I usually rest at an 8, but I am currently extremely exhausted due to a couple of things. Story 17. I am not happy at all. I have been crying all evening. I got rejected by a guy I really liked, and I still cannot understand why. Story 18, about a 7 out of 10. Life isn't bad at all, but it could be better, of course. I am grateful for what I have and what I've accomplished, but I feel like something is missing. We should all appreciate life, health, and our great friends and family. Things could always be worse. Story 19. I'm feeling great and it feels nice to share that with everyone. The past 7 months, I have experienced depression, loneliness, anger, and self-isolation. However, the weather improved in Southern California last week, which helped. I spent a lot of that time in the gym and, in the last 3 months, completely cleaned up my diet. I started surfing again after losing my passion for it 2 years ago. People have been verbally commenting on how great I look, which is a huge confidence booster. The reason I'm sharing all this is that I want those out there who aren't doing well to know. It does get better. It really does. But you have to put in the effort. Nothing changes if nothing changes is a simple yet profound idea. Change anything: how you dry yourself off with a towel after a shower, how you brush your teeth, the route you take to work, the music you listen to, or the habits you have at night. Change anything. Story 20. My little girl just died at 16 years old. I am beside myself and have been since she passed away on Friday. Story 21. I am at a low point in my life, dealing with infertility issues and receiving one piece of bad news after another. Story 22. It was 90 degrees here today, and our air conditioning went out almost a week ago. Supposedly, they are coming to fix it tomorrow. This weather makes me feel cranky and sluggish. Story 23. Not at all, my heart is broken. The love of my life broke up with me, and the man I have been seeing casually is leaving for the summer. Nothing is exciting or inspiring. I have obsessive-compulsive disorder, and I am in a terrible relapse. Story 24. I am under a lot of stress. My air conditioning is not functioning, and we discovered black mold has been present under the unit for years due to a leak. I have fallen ill, but I still have to work tomorrow. My mother and I have also been arguing. Story 25. I would rate it 2 out of 10. 1 point for being alive and 1 point for my family being healthy and well off. The remaining 8 points are lacking, such as friends, adventure, new places, a girlfriend whom I can love infinitely, food, cars, and bikes. Story 26. It is the 11th hour of my Saturday night shift, and I will have 2 days off afterward. I am pretty happy about it, but I am also very tired and just want to sleep. Story 27. 8 out of 10. I could have a more active social life, more money, or a better job, but I enjoy my peace of mind these days, with my family around and spending my time on my hobbies. Story 28. Day 5 of antidepressants after 3 suicide attempts last month. I'm taking the steps, but I don't feel better. Story 29. 9.25 out of 10. It would have been a perfect day if I had remembered to put the guard on the clippers and not given my dog the friar tuck. Story 30. 7 out of 10. Positive habits keep me above 5. The negative influences bring me down, but I combat this with actions to support local groups and initiatives. It would probably be a 10 if my fellow citizens weren't so uninformed and ignorant. Story 31. It was my first birthday since my mom died, followed 2 days later by my first Mother's Day without her. I honestly don't care about anything anymore. Story 32. I just celebrated my 1-year anniversary. I got a new couch, the place is clean, and I have a personal trainer. It's going well, but I'm tired and sore. Story 33. I am doing really well, actually. I would rate it 9 out of 10. Life comes in waves, and I'm happy to be riding a peak right now. I'm sure one day I'll be at the bottom again, but I'm glad to know I was doing tricks while I was at the top. Life gets better, then worse, and then better again. I know you all will get through it. Story 34. I beg every day that everything since 2020 was just a fever dream. Story 35. Not at all. Every time I make a few steps forward, I get thrown down the staircase. Every single time. I'm usually optimistic and get back up to start again, but I'm at a point where I might give up. I don't want to give up. I have children. However, my husband's illness is overwhelming me. I'm in constant fight or flight mode. I'm unwell. He's unwell. His mental health struggles are consuming me, and I don't know how to help him anymore. Even if I were to take a holiday alone or do something on my own, I have to come back to this reality. I have people who love me, but love isn't enough when I carry all the burden and pain. My children are wonderful. Even though life is tough, I don't know what to do anymore. I apologize for venting, but thanks for asking because I didn't realize how unhappy I was. Story 36. I am very happy because I am in a relationship with the love of my life, but I also feel depressed at the same time because my professional life is not going well. I cannot seem to find a positive work environment. Story 37. I am doing well. I have a good-paying job that I enjoy, and I receive 4.5 weeks of leave per year, which allows me to travel frequently. Story 38. I feel really happy right now despite having a load of work for my last year of high school. Someone complimented my eyes, and today, while I was sharing business ideas, my group praised them, saying they were genius. I presented my ideas to the visitor who was quizzing us, and he offered a similar compliment. I am also looking forward to studying my passions in the future. I want to build a business to help people but won't share the idea just in case. Additionally, I plan to study psychology to assist others. I might pursue engineering and robotics as it is important not to be too dependent on something I don't yet understand, and I aim to help people. I am also interested in biology to contribute to environmental sustainability. I enjoy violin class and my family is not well off at all. Violin classes are free at school and there are always online tutorials. I got my violin for an extremely low price. I hope to make a decent living in the future. Story 39. I think it is quite average. The realization that he was extremely toxic, and I ignored it because I loved him with every fiber of my being, is something I am still trying to process. Story 40. Life can always be good depending on your perspective. Everything is truly about perspective. Yes, challenges arise, but your perception is your choice, with exceptions for chemical imbalances, of course. Story 41. My old dog is dying. Feels like part of my heart is missing already. I feel like I am mourning him even though he is still here. Story 42. I honestly don't really know. I'm not overwhelmed with excitement. It's usually pretty stressful, with always something in the way, yet there are still good times. Life could definitely be easier, that's for sure. It's not always bad. It's been much worse. Story 43. No, I think no one can be always happy. There will always be ups and downs in life, so asking that isn't the right thing. Maybe successful is the right answer. Yes, I am not successful yet, but I am manifesting to be truly successful and wealthy. Of course, one cannot deny that the world works on money. I am going to be a billionaire someday. Story 44. Hard question. In some aspects, I am having the worst year of my life, and in others, I feel incredibly lucky. Story 45. I haven't thought about giving it a number, but if I had to, I would say maybe 4. I'm trying to get over an intense situation I had with a girl for a few months. I don't do much at all and find myself stuck in bed most days. The things that keep me somewhat happy are my friends, even though most of them are online watching a TV series and enjoying sports. I have things I want to do but can't seem to gather the motivation to start. I spend most of the day in bed when I'm not working. Story 46. But what's the point in asking if it's just to get limited reactions or sympathy, only to feel worse? I wait for the next reasonable upswing, then crash again. I'm feeling so miserable. Story 47. I have a job that is okay, I support my parents, and I am in a loving relationship. However, I still find myself crying without reason quite often. Story 48. I love my wife and child. Things are going well with them. However, my car is falling apart, and I need to exercise more. I am an optimist with a positive outlook on life and a core belief that nothing lasts forever. So appreciate what you have now and don't let current challenges bring you down. This perspective helps keep me above a 5, regardless of circumstances, as long as my brain produces enough of the right chemicals. If it doesn't, I have medication to address that. Story 49. I was at a low point for years, but recently things have been getting better. I would say I am at a solid 6 out of 10. Zoloft and Klonopin have been lifesavers. For anyone who is severely depressed or anxious, I understand how you feel. Please hang in there and seek help if you need it. There is no point in suffering. Get the support you deserve. Story 50. I am employed, well-rested, and eating well, but I am not financially struggling. However, on an emotional level, I am not okay. I dislike waking up in the morning for work and would rather choose unemployment at this point than continue working. It's not the early wake-up that bothers me. It's the work itself that I currently find objectionable. Story 51. My laptop is broken beyond repair, but now I have a girlfriend who supports me a lot. I am thinking of creating a little platformer game with Super Mario tiles to ask one question. Will you marry me, Annie? Story 52. I feel like I'm close to a burnout and have been as depressed as ever while not being able to afford time off. Story 53. Right now, I would rate it about a 5 or 6 out of 10. I tend to remain neutral rather than extreme in either direction. On average, I would say it falls in the 4 to 5 range. The lows aren't very low, although I wish the highs felt more elevated at times. Story 54. I think I have mild long-term depression. The good news is that it keeps me focused, and my highs don't get very high while my lows don't get very low. It also seems that I can't have nightmares. The dreams try hard, but I just don't feel strong emotions, so the nightmares end up being unremarkable. The bad news is that I'm not enjoying life. I'm just living it. It seems to affect my perception of time as well. These past 15 years have flown by. Weeks feel like only a few days. Story 55. I'd rate it 8 out of 10. I want to be consistent with my sleep schedule and gym sessions so it can be a perfect 10. Story 56. Between my room temperature day job and a mind-numbing struggle with dating applications, I faced much worse. I am excited to go to college in the fall. Story 57. I mean, it could be worse. The year started off with me falling and breaking my hip, undergoing hip replacement surgery, and spending a couple of weeks in the hospital. Just when I was almost back to normal, still walking with a cane after a month of rehabilitation, I got laid off from a job I had held for almost 4 years. Somehow, I landed a new job that seems to be going well, but a couple of weeks into it, one of my best friends from college passed away. However, I woke up on this side of the lawn today. I have a roof over my head and a little money in the bank, so Story 58. I have 3 weeks off work, Eurovision starts in a few days, I have Oblivion on my Xbox, and I have 25 new fruit trees in my garden. Story 59. I am still recovering from a difficult year. I am trying to rebuild my life, and I miss my partner and the people I used to talk to. I don't think I will ever be the same person I was before things fell apart. And right now, I am just trying to figure out who that is. Story 60. My long-distance girlfriend arrived yesterday, and I will get to spend a bit over 2 months with her now. I can come home to her after work 5 days a week and do all the things we enjoy, but this time in person. Story 61. I would say I am not happy, but rather unhappy. Then I thought about it and realized you can be happy and unhappy at the same time. It depends on which feeling is more prominent. The question is, how happy am I? If the maximum happiness is 10 and the maximum unhappiness is also 10, I would say that on a bad day, the unhappiness would cancel out any good. So right now, I would rate my happiness as 0 out of 10. Story 62. I spent the week with my girlfriend. However, I have a lot of work. It's pretty interesting, and I am finally understanding it. Story 63. I am not happy. I still do not have a job. My bakery is not doing well, and I do not have enough money to buy a computer or a vehicle. I am still having a hard time affording food and facing many other problems. Story 64. I was extremely happy until two men moved into my apartment and began disrupting my environment several weeks ago. My lifestyle was on the upswing. I was accomplishing physical, mental, and spiritual goals that brought me great happiness. Since then, I have regressed emotionally in most ways that matter as I try to maintain what I had cultivated in the months prior, while being dominated and bullied in my own home by the men who moved in. One of them is aggressive, while the other engages in loud activities with women on the other side of thin walls, women who would likely not give me the time of day even if I asked nicely. I feel besieged. My spirit, hobbies, and exercises help me avoid dwelling on the fact that my home and sanctuary feel ruined. Where I had high hopes for the future just weeks ago, feeling I had built something good in myself and was generally hopeful and happy, I now strive to envision when my home will feel like a sanctuary again while doing my best to keep alive the spirit of what I had previously cultivated. The contrast between how I felt 2 months ago and how I feel now is stark. But with myself, my hobbies, and my spirit, I remain extremely happy. It pains me to avoid my own home because rude individuals are ruining it. I do not automatically subscribe to the idea of brotherly love. My peace and happiness are carefully cultivated, and I value everything I am about more than I value the lives and welfare of random men. I have no desire to tolerate that behavior. They should simply be aware of how to act while living among someone they don't know. I had hoped the new roommates would be tolerable or even pleasant individuals, potentially even a woman. This has severely damaged the happiness I had cultivated regarding goodwill towards others. Where I once daydreamed about uplifting humanity, I now feel disgusted with them, and I consider that feeling justified. It's not that I'm a prude. I just deserve more respect than that. Personally, I feel excellent. I am excited and hopeful for the time when I can travel freely and associate with those who approach me with respect. I dream of visiting all the great cities, temples, shrines, and libraries around the world. Life is good. However, I take serious exception to being disturbed in my home, which is difficult. My best friends are my spirit, my books, and my belongings, and they are better companions than most people. This experience has taught me that one's spirit will always be a better friend than random strangers, as it should be. So, I would say I am happy, but not overwhelmingly excited like I was a couple of months ago. I may have to take action if those men do not move out soon, so I can resume the excellent lifestyle I had been cultivating before, which now feels compromised. Typically, I would have no reason to tolerate such behavior from anyone. Patience is a virtue. Roommates come and go. The last intolerable person who lived here stayed for about 4 months, blasting the television and yelling day and night. These men will eventually move out, and I will return to where I left off with a focus on my own priorities. My mistake may have been in assuming that people are inherently uplifting. There are essentially two kinds of people in the world, those I will tolerate and those I won't. Story 65. I am going to get Taco Bell for lunch tomorrow. Nothing fancy, just a couple of taco supremes. I'm really looking forward to it. Story 66. It has been a long day, and my brain feels mushy from work, but my wife is happy and starting to pursue her new venture. I miss my friends back home. Rating 6 out of 10. Story 67. It's hard to tell. I'm currently in my final exams period, and I feel like a failure even though I studied hard. On the other hand, I finally found true friends and ended things with a fake friend who used me and treated me poorly. My social life is looking better than ever. Story 68. No. My schedule is the same from Monday to Friday. I'm only 18, so I work part-time at a before and after school program. It may seem great because I have my days free, and trust me, it is, but I am going stir crazy. I don't do anything during the day. I sit at home and watch television, sometimes do diamond art, but that's basically it. I had a terrible week last week, with bad anxiety and depression because I feel like my teenage years are wasting away. I am not doing anything. I'm going nuts. Please help. Story 69. I have a good job and a good relationship, a roof over my head, and food in my stomach, but I am still struggling financially. My fiancé is experiencing serious health concerns with his heart, so we are seeing a cardiologist today. I am unsure how I will afford the $247 check-in fee. I just found a thread on Reddit with many people defending the healthcare system and expressing frustration at others for not paying their bills, claiming it makes healthcare more expensive. The situation leaves me feeling hopeless. Story 70. I'm miserable, so no, sadly not happy. I feel slightly better on Fridays and whenever I'm drinking diet soda. I just need something to numb the pain and anxiety. Life right now is horrifying. Story 71. Like a 7 out of 10, I just got my dream laptop and I am over the moon. However, life at college, especially since I am a freshman, is pretty below average. It is a stressful exam period, and I am having problems communicating with people due to a lack of common interests and very different views on the world. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.